Hey, all Bulldogs fans. Hope you're all having a good week leading into the Easter holiday. Today, this week's episode of The Bark, I'm going to go over the Greater Northern Tigers Grand Final in the Laurie Daley Cup against the Monaro Colts. And we're also going to look at the junior representative last round fixtures and what they're looking at going into the finals and what's required to finish where on the table. And also, we'll put up the highlights of the Laurie Daley Cup game at the end of the video. So, the Laurie Daley Cup Grand Final was played in Cessnock on Sunday, and it featured two of the competition in the Laurie Daley Cup's biggest kickers, with both halfbacks, Jordan Hamlin for the Great Northern Tigers and Jonah Anderson for the Monaro Colts. I'm pretty sure he's involved with the Canberra SG Ball team, and I think some of his teammates also are in the SG Ball squad for the Raiders. So it's a pretty handy team that they've got in the Monaro Colts Laurie Daley Cup, and they only lost one game all season, and that was in round one. I think it was 14-0. But ever since then, they've been a pretty dominant side. It was a top-of-the-table clash. Both teams finished on top of their pools, and so it was all set up for a pretty good grand final matchup. And looking at some of my notes that I made during the game, starting in the first half, there was an early battle of field position early on, and good defence from both sides. A Tigers error in their own half, though, did lead to the Monaro Colts' first try and under the posts. The Tigers did hit back not long after, with Johnson Vale, the winger, scoring in the corner after good lead-up work from Braden Allen and Reece Josephson in the same movement. But off another error from the Tigers and some soft online defence, the Colts scored again, and it was 12-4 after 18 minutes. The hooker, Jack Foley, was then held up, with the Colts doing what the Tigers failed to do on the line, with some great online defence. The Tigers couldn't contain Tuolai in goals, the centre, and then through some post-contact work, got downfield and drew an error from the Tigers in goal. And off the next set, attacking the line, the Colts scored in the corner, a play that was set up from good dummy half work from Mitchell Brophy. It was then 16-4. After that, Cooper Meldrum made a good one-on-one tackle on Croker, and Reece Josephson made a 50-metre run from the in-goal, retrieving a ball, which moments later led to an Aitken try in the corner after halves Hamlin and Smith combined, and at half-time the score was 16-8. The second half started with Colts halfback Anderson had a couple of huge moments and forced a repeat set from a well-weighted kick, and that followed by a neat little grubber from the following set for the second rower Elton to score, and it was now 22-8 to the Colts. Anderson was really starting to control the game, giving little time to Reece Josephson and little space off his kicks, and forcing dropout after dropout and working over the Tigers. The Tigers 5'8" Jackson Smith then forced an error, and then out of dummy half, Jack Foley combined with Hamlin and Josephson for a nice try to Johnson Vale out wide in the corner, and it was now 22-12. After that, we got a penalty and a bit of weight of possession to the Tigers, and they were showing that fighting spirit again that they've done so much throughout the season. And Meldrum then went the short side on the last, kicking and regathering to score himself, and Keane converted, and it was then 22-18. Some driving defence and big clearing kicks from both teams followed for the next 10 to 15 minutes with only 4 points difference. But I thought we could have gone a little deeper with some of the kicks on the last plays and played a bit more field position and really limit the likes of Croker and his kick returns. But the Tigers did have their best chance to go to the lead after an error from the Colts off a Jackson Smith grubber. But they held on after a nice neat little kick again from Jackson Smith, high to the corner for his winger, but they nullified that attacking raid. And the next set, the Monaro Colts, with a great set of yardage, led to the match-winning try on the last from Hooker Brophy after his show and go, and it was 28-18 with only 3 minutes left, and that was how the game ended. But for our boys, the Tigers, they competed very well and stayed in the game for the majority of it, 77 minutes, and like they have all campaign, never gave up. And they did come up against a very strong Colts side, who were based out of Goulburn and Canberra and possess many Raiders SG ball players, like I said before. So we didn't let ourselves down in that regard. And, for the boys to make, or the club to make their first grand final in this competition, it's a wonderful achievement. Best on ground for me was Jade Anderson, the Colts half. He was very classy, controlled his kicks perfectly, and limiting the likes of Josephson where possible. Reese was one of our best, as was Hamlin, the halfback. But I actually thought the two wingers, Atkin and Johnson Vale, were really good, and they helped out the forwards quite a fair bit, and they finished well on their tries. Incidentally, we did have a player missing from the grand final that had played throughout the season, in bench player Jaden Seckold, who was coming on and playing hooker at times during the games. And I was actually very impressed with him in the semi-final. When he comes on, he sort of plays a little more direct, and he enables Jack Foley to move to lock. And, that sort of worked well quite a number of times throughout the season when we were behind in games, and he gets us on the front foot. So he was a big loss. Unfortunately, he was cited for a crusher tackle the week before in the semi, and he missed that game. So, yeah, it was tough on him, but the team rallied and still hung in there and did their best. So congratulations to the Tigers on making their first grand final in the Laurie Daley Cup, and I certainly look forward to seeing some of these guys play in the blue and white down the track as they make their move into the SG Ball squad and the summer squads. I believe there's about 9 or 10 players that played in the grand final, played throughout the season, that have contracts with the Bulldogs. So, on to the Pathways games this weekend in the Junior Reps. In Lisa Fiola Cup, the Bulldogs under-17s girls, they play the Dragons at Jubilee at 1 p.m. on Easter Saturday. And we're first, undefeated, and we're playing last, the Dragons, in 13th. And I would be playing a full-strength side, especially after having a bye. And we do have first wrapped up, but with the bye, and I think they get a week off coming first the following week. So to give them some minutes and get them prepared for when we do play in the finals, I'd be going full strength. In the Tashagal Cup, the girls under-19s Bulldogs, they play also the Dragons at Jubilee at 2:30 p.m. on Easter Saturday, following the under-17s girls. And we're sitting in third currently, and we play also, coming last, the Dragons in the Tashagal Cup at 13th. So the Dragons aren't doing too good in the girls. And we've got an opportunity there to finish as high as second if we have I was looking at the table, if we win by 28 points or more in Tashagal Cup this weekend, we overtake the Indigenous Academy, as they have a bye and we're on the same points. But they obviously can't add to their points differential. So I'd be going full strength in that game as well, after a bye, and hopefully, we can get a big win over the Dragons, who are coming last, and get up into second. So on to the Harold Matthews Cup, and the Bulldogs under 17s boys. They play the Storm in Victoria at 1 p.m. on Saturday as well. And we're currently in second, and the Storm are 11th. We can't finish lower than third but we can play for a minor premiership. As first place Magpies play third place Eels. And, if the Magpies lose that game, which is very possible, Eels are up there doing well, the Bulldogs win, it would give us top spot leading into the finals, which would be bloody fantastic. And, it would really justify the good season that they've had. They've put some teams away, and they're looking pretty good. And yeah, so hopefully they can beat the Storm in Victoria. It's definitely a winnable game, and the other result goes our way. In SG Ball Cup, the under-19s boys, they play the Storm also on Saturday, following the Harold Mats in Victoria at 2:30 p.m. We're fourth currently, playing 13th, the Storm. We will play finals no matter what, but obviously with a win, we could finish as high as possible on the ladder. And the Dragons and the Knights are in second and third and have relatively easy games, but you never know. They could slip up, and the chance to finish as high as second could be on the table, literally on the table. So, yeah, I'd be going full strength there and aiming for a win against the Storm, who aren't doing that well, coming 13th. And hopefully we finish higher than fourth and avoid an elimination final in the first week. But the boys have won something like 5 games in a row, I think now. So the momentum is certainly on their side, and it's a game I expect them to win. Especially looking at the team named, which is pretty much an unchanged side for the last few weeks. The Jersey Flag side, they play South Sydney at Redfern on Saturday at 10:30am. So perhaps fans might want to go check that game out first in the morning, and then head down towards Accor and see the double header, the New South Wales Cup play South, and then the NRL team. Big day. I don't know why that game was not played at Accor as well. Would have been great. So many people out there for the Easter show, so it's not like they're going to get a lack of people in that early for the game. Joey O'Neill is back in the Jersey Flag team at halfback after he played New South Wales Cup last week. And I didn't see the Jersey Flag game last week, the loss against Penrith, but, the type of player that Joey is, and being the captain of the side, I'm sure his presence back in the team will have a good effect on the rest of them. And that's nothing against the young fella that come in, Joseph Tiapa, and played in the halfback role. But he'll go back to his bench spot, I'd assume, and the rest of the team, I think, is pretty much the same. Like I said before, New South Wales Cup is at Accor. I think it's on Foxtel, but if not, it'll be on New South Wales Rugby League TV. And that's the precursor before, or curtain raiser, before the NRL big game against the Rabbitohs. It's a great time to play the Rabbits. I think they're hurting. I don't know if they're the type of team that thrive under pressure, so I think it's a good time to play them. Also, I think we should adopt the same tactic that we had against the Titans the week before, with some of the bigger forwards of South and playing in the day. I'd look to turn the forwards around, kick deep, perhaps even a little bit early in the tackle count. Move Latrell around. He's a bit lazy at the back. Get him working harder and fatigue the team. I really liked the way they went about that last week, and the kicking game was really good with Burton, even Reid Marnie and Hutch. They had some good kicks as well. So I'd definitely utilise that against the big South pack and an under-fit Latrell. Another tactic I do like against those types of sides, and especially for us, is to not necessarily work for an extra repeat set and give them an opportunity to get the ball back from a dropout with that rule change. I don't mind turning the ball over in the 5 metres in the corner of the attacking their line. I think it's a good place to turn the ball over and we really worked them over in defence, if we're not going to give a penalty away, that is. But I do like that tactic, and even, you know, if we're kicking, say, on the fourth or the third or the fourth from about halfway line, and they're not ready for that deep kick, you can really put in a good chase and turn them around and get them in that corner. I think it's a really good tactic. By doing that, you also put the wingers into two minds, because they might start to drop back a little bit earlier, waiting for that kick. But then you could go the short kick, like a Burton short kick for the likes of Critter or Addo-Carr, and they did that in the trial against Sharks, where Addo-Carr picked up the ball and passed it inside to Bronson Sherry, and it led to a sin bin because they committed a professional foul on their line defending. But we'll wait and see what happens in the game. I think it's a really good tactic, especially with our speedy outside backs and our smaller pack, and it works over bigger packs playing in the day. But anyway, guys, that's enough for this week on the Bark. Hope everyone has a really good Easter, enjoying the footy with their families, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Okay, guys, bye.
Was one of the tacklers, and Rothwell hung on for dear life. Brophy goes to the line. Is this the first? Mitchell Brophy. Greyhound from Singleton. Foley to Hamlin. Hamlin to Allen. Allen shifting it out to Reece Josephson. Keandre Johnson-Vale, can he finish? Keandre Johnson-Vale, what a try. That was a wonderful. Brophy to Anderson. Anderson with a short one to Elton. He's a good finisher, just can't get there. He's only about a metre short now, Joseph Elton. Brophy goes to the right. Here's Malpaheeva on the spin. And that's the third try of the game and the second of the Colts. That looked pretty easy, that one there, Pete. Sharkson has his first action in the game. Brophy on the one-handed pickup. Top ball to Hudson. Hudson releases to Elton. Elton strives for the line. Has he got there? 10 metres out from the try line. They're looking to hit back here with about four and a quarter minutes left in this first half. Ball goes out there to Smith. Smith holds it. Great bit of play. Ball out wide. And it's almost there. Oscar Acker gets over for the Tigers. Used the post last week to his advantage in the semi, but he couldn't do it then. Anderson, beautiful kick on the toe. That's Elton. Joseph Elton scores the first try of the second half, and that was a carbon copy. Exactly what happened last week in the semi-final. Completely crunched.
Yeah, not the sort of ball you want to cop from one of your forwards.
No, fifth and last here. Hamlin showed it to Josephson. Josephson goes wide, and the ball's all the way out there. And that looked like Keandre Johnson-Vale that scored the try in the two. It was intelligent play there from the fullback. Fifth and last now. This is Meldrum. Meldrum on the toe. Meldrum regathers. Meldrum scored the try. What a ripper. Get through the Merrywar boy in Keane. Fifth and last. Brophy with a one-handed pickup. Brophy goes through the gap. Is he going to get there? The tackle dragged him over the line. Referee's got a decision to make. I reckon he's got there. Griffin, the number 20, get a touch for the Monaro Colts. As the final siren sounds, Monaro Colts are your champions and premiers for season 2024.
Laurie Daley Cup champions, the best team in New South Wales, the Monaro Colts.